Hi there. I haven't done a video in a while. If you follow my videos, you would have noticed that. And it just seems appropriate now to do a video after a while. I'm not doing one. And, the start of this video, obviously, religion, and, I'm not religious myself. Because the reason I'm not religious is because I think it's all insane to talk about gods or people that no one knows existed. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't exist, but we don't really know. We only know something if we've experienced it. That's the only way you know anything. Is if you've had that experience of seeing it or something. And these religious people, will argue with you. For example, I've had this on the internet. And they'll argue with you over religious stuff when they don't even know it's true what they're saying. And this is how religion does control people. It makes them crazy. And you've got a lot of crazies out there. There's even certain type of people that say that they talk a good fight, and they say they're against the hoax of COVID-19, and they say good things, but the way they behave is the mirror of the people they say they're against. And this is what David Icke calls the woke community. You've got the awake community, and then you've got the woke community. The awakened community is the people that have had unexpected spiritual awakenings, and they came together, as one. The woke community is the people that say that they are left when they're actually right. They think that their way is the way, and if you're outside of that, or if they perceive you to be outside of that, then they go nuts against you, and they just act like the people that they say that they're against. You see, it's not actually someone's words that annoys you. I learnt this the hard way. I had an unexpected spiritual awakening at the age of 24, and I learnt something. What I learned, like in this picture, was that we see things based on who we are, and we perceive things that way. And so in this awakening, I started to be aware of this. Everything became my mirror. And if you think of it, that's how things are. We see things and outward how we are within ourselves. Like I've seen me posting something on the internet. This happened, more than once. And I'll mean something, but someone else takes it as something else. And they make it into something else, but it's all in their head. I didn't mean that at all. But I don't really get upset about it because, like I say, they're perceiving things based on the mirror of themselves. And, those people are in a lot of pain. Because I know what it's like, because like I say, I used to suffer that way myself. When I first went on the internet, for example, for the spiritual awakening, I used to argue with a lot of people. And it took me years before I could I managed to train myself to not argue with people. Because I realised that there's people on the internet that are basically trolls. And they basically troll people on the internet. You get a lot of these people, religious fanatics. And like I said, the liberals I was mentioning earlier, they're not really liberal. They're really the other way. And these people are just trolls. And they'll, I've had these people a lot, and they'll insult you and say all different kind of things. And but through these people contacting me, I learned the best way to deal with these people is to not react to them. These people have normally got very few people commenting on their stuff or liking their stuff. They're just losers with nobody supporting them. And so the best way to deal with a loser, if you have this in your life, is don't comment. Don't respond at all to them. And that will make them feel even more worthless than they are. And they'll just disappear. Or if it gets too much, if they're just a pain in the neck, and just block them. And I think it was about a few weeks ago, I had this person on Twitter, and this very nice woman actually was arguing my case for me. And she didn't have to do that, but this is what happens sometimes. Because these kind of crazy, angry people who obviously don't have any friends on the internet or even in real life, they talk about things that they don't even know is true. Like religion, for example. And these kind of people are not aware that everything's made up by somebody. Religion itself exists in books. And a book has to be written by a person, not a God. When I talk of God, for example, like I was saying earlier about perception, my view of God is that the only law that exists really is God's law. And God to me is just love. It's what we all are. We are all connected to that source, that power. God is not a person. Everything is consciousness. And I was saying earlier about, not responding to these people on the internet, these internet losers, these trolls, because you want to project your message in a situation like I'm doing now. And this is the only time I project my message is if it's with the right people now. Like I said earlier, years ago, before the spiritual awakening, I used to argue with a lot of people. Because I used to think, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. I need to tell them the truth. And it doesn't really help the situation, because these people think that they're right, you see. And because you've said a truth to them that their ego doesn't like, they will get even more annoyed. I think Bruce Lee said something about that the fool will always, not like you if you tell them something that their ego won't like. A wise man will embrace that, because the wise person wants to learn and grow. The stupid fool doesn't want that. But the stupid fool is likely to call everyone else fools, but not be aware of themselves. And this is like what I was saying earlier. This is what the difference between spiritual awakening and going through that process and not going through it. The difference is self-awareness. That's what you gain in spiritual awakening. You start to be aware of your faults. You start to be aware of yourself, where before you were just like a software program, reacting the way that you've been programmed to react to things, and you didn't realize that this was going on. But once you become self-aware, you can then begin to heal things. You start to realize that things weren't the way that you saw them at all. That's it was all based upon your perception of yourself, and your perception of yourself is how you see everything else. And in this you start to heal, and healing is the first part of ascension. And understand that that's the way things are. You don't need any religion to save you. You just need to heal yourself within. Start looking at things, start understanding that there are infinite ways to view something, infinite ways to perceive something. We have been denied of our true infinite self. But yeah, there's limitless ways to perceive something. So when someone annoys you with your words, just stop for a moment and realize that how you're perceiving their words is the mirror of yourself. And in this, you start to get clarity on why you had this feeling. That what they'd done is they triggered an emotion within you that made you be like that. These triggers are actually unhealed parts within us. So when someone triggers us, they are bringing that part out of us so that we can heal it. So our triggers, or people that trigger us, are our healers. And so they're there for a purpose, you see. Everything's synchronistic. And everything's there for a reason. And one might say that this is God. Some might say that the path that I'm on, the spiritual awakening, is God itself. You're connected to that power. But again, it's all to do with how you perceive it. And that's it. There's limitless ways to perceive things. And I'm very grateful that I don't respond to these type of people anymore. I get them, pretty regular. These kind of crazy people, actually. They're very angry people. And I don't actually think they know what they think. I don't actually think they know what they're saying, a lot of them. Because, like I say, until you're self-aware, you're not aware of yourself. You're not aware of what's making you react this way. So, but like I say, the way to heal it and to make yourself feel better, it's all about being self-aware. Pay attention to what's making you get triggered like that. And then you can begin to heal it. And let no external force define who you are, or stories like in religions. Understand that your definition of who you are is based on you and how you see yourself. And that determines how you see the world. Everything is a mirror. And I'm just going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Thank you.